Okay, so this is just gonna be a quick one because, well, don't want to bore you with stuff, but we've just recently had the uh, location drop trailer thing. I can't remember what, can't specifically remember how to pronounce it. Um, but we've had that. It was yesterday, and I just want to talk about some of the things on it. So I'll start off with the fact that, again, I do quite like how the location is looking, even though it is sort of quite generic for this sort of generation of games. As they've said, they want to be different, sort of set in the Midwest and stuff like that. But there's been quite a few games set in sort of middle of the desert, crime-based sort of thing. So it's not original, but if you can get past that, it's fine. Um, but the location seems like it's going to be fun. Seems like there's going to be um, quite a bit of exploration, sort of lots of sort of lots of you'll be able to do lots of things, which is something quite like, because that's something that's quite reminiscent of the first two Saints Row. Is you could piss about, if you will, sort of like figuring out how to like do stupid jumps and stuff like that. So that's something that's quite nice to know about. And once again, we've seen a little bit of gameplay, and the gameplay looks good, looks interesting. But I want to talk about the characters. Now, the main crew, again, I spoke about this on the last one, but now we know who they are. We can get a little bit in depth with them. Um, so I'm going to start with Eli, because I don't like Eli. So Eli is this black man in a suit. Eli is a pretty much a pacifist who likes podcasts, who has his own podcast apparently. Now, what irritates me the most about Eli is the fact that he's trying to be part of a street gang and he doesn't like violence. Now, what the fuck? Don't get me wrong, right? Not liking violence can be a fine thing, but not when you plan on going into a, let's say, career, we should say, of violence. So I don't like Eli, and I hope he fucking dies. That's all I'm gonna fucking say on Eli, because he doesn't deserve any more. The next character I'm gonna talk about is the boss. Again, I can't really talk about the boss character because it just seems really generalized and all that. Like, if we go to the review, the Santos, whatever the fuck, um, there is. They've said that, oh yeah, you wanted to create a relatable gang who you want to invite into your living room, and it's like, that's not what's. I've never in the history of playing Saints Row have I blown someone's cranium apart and then gone, I relate to that. Never have I fucking sprayed shit on the side of a building and then gone, I think I'd invite the boss into my house. Yeah, I think like this crew. I would trust with my kids. That I don't want a street gang that I could trust with my kids. I want a street gang that would try and tattoo my fucking children. So that I don't like that at the moment. That, like, they've just fucked it up. And if we go to here, we'll just, again, I want to say this. No offense to the voice actors or anything. I ain't got a problem with the voice actors. But like, look, they just look like fucking morons. They have nothing that really shows that they're part of a gang, for a start, and secondly, they just look like morons. So there is a moment in this trailer which, if I unmute this and then go forwards a bit, so if you listen to this, now, charismatic murder machine. I don't understand that quite well. Why would you want that? But it's I think this was supposed to be some sort of joke, this next part, but it doesn't come off as that. Need fingers in more pies. That doesn't come off as a joke. It doesn't represent very well. So it feels like the writing there is quite poor. But Eli, I don't like Eli. He just doesn't seem like a very sort of very gang person. And I know we haven't seen much of it, but as it stands, it just doesn't feel right. So if we go on to the next character, Eli, I don't like Eli. So Nina. Now Nina, out of the whole crew, seems to be the one who fits the most sort of crime aesthetic, if you will. She seems like she could be part of a gang, somewhat, but I don't really have an opinion on Nina, other than the fact that she kind of seems like a criminal, and that's about it. And for me, I'm a car enthusiast, so I'm just prepared for the stereotypical car enthusiast thing because apparently she is one as well, and that's perfectly fine. To be clear, I'm not going to say that it's wrong that a character can be a car enthusiast, but I know for a fact that no one in Volition actually put in the time and effort to research anything about the car community or anything like that. So it's just going to be a bunch of fucking bullshit that's just going to be generalized and stereotypical. But that doesn't matter. Now, the last character I want to talk about is a character I know is getting a lot of hate, but I kind of like him, even though he does have something. It does. Well, there's something that pisses me off about him, and it's Kevin. Now, Kevin's this shirtless moron at the end, and I think that's why I like Kevin is because he seems like he's an idiot, which means that it might be he might be the comedic sort of bounce board offset for the gang. He might be kind of like the Pierce, if you will, where he's sort of he has the funny dialogue. You're able to sort of like your boss is able to bounce back off of Kevin, and that's what I'm hoping. Sort of like maybe sort Kevin for me. Kevin feels like a mixture of the boss, Gat, and Pierce. So that's what I'm hoping that he is going to be. But in the reveal, um, Kevin Kevin wants to be a TV chef. Now, I hope that's not his character motive. I hope that's just a joke that's inside the gang because that sounds really fucking dumb. The and that's another thing I'll talk about in a bit is the motive for this. It doesn't feel like it's there, but these don't feel like a crime gang. I mean, Kevin's the closest to me who feels like he could be part of a gang, but I think that's because the two previous playthroughs of Santo 2 have done, my character's been shirtless. The first one was because I just couldn't find a shirt that I liked, and the second one is because I'm making a fat Maui who, like, he's a fat Maui, and it just fits his aesthetic. But other than that, like, that's the only reason. I think that's one of the reasons why. And I know he's getting a lot of hate because he had that stupid fucking helmet, and that if we just ignore that the reveal trailer ever happened, I feel like Kevin might be a good character, but then again, they could fuck it up really easily. So, I don't know. I don't know. Kevin might be cool, but I don't know. So, I want to talk now. I want to talk about the gangs. So, if we go across to the gangs, you've got the the uh, the leader of the martial whatever fuck. I don't like this character. I don't like this at all. He just seems like generic sort of Midwestern company owner. Like he doesn't have any substance to him. He doesn't feel like he could. It just doesn't feel right. And he's supposed to take on like the role of Stag and Ultor, and it doesn't really come across as like that. And I just don't like this character. And then you've got fucking I think it's the Panthers, is it, with General Muscle Man as the leader. Like, I don't like this leader at all. He doesn't he fits the aesthetic of a gang boss, a gang leader, but it's just so general. And it's like he's just Killbane and the leader of Brotherhood. For the life of me, I can't remember his name because I haven't played Santo in a hot minute. But I should know his name. That's fucking blasphemy, that is. But yeah, the leader of Brotherhood of Saints Row 2. He feels so general, but I don't know. I don't like his character. And lastly, you've got, I think they're the Idols, which is it's just Daft Punk and the twins from Far Cry New Dawn stuck into one thing. I will say what I do like about this is they've put a sort of a certain, let's say, fighting style, certain style of combat for each gang. So the martial is sort of like sort of futuristic, sort of like lasers and guns bullshit, like, fucking Yeah, that's what I wanted gang game, but whatever. And then you've got the I think it's the Panthers that are sort of like they're sort of like heavy hitters. They're sort of melees and stuff like that, which I like because it means that we could there's a difference in combat. And then you got the idols, which apparently is like they just swarm you in numbers, which for me that's an interesting take on it, but still it doesn't feel like Saints Row to me, and it's really a shame that they've done it this way because it just it feels like they've just took what Saints Row is supposed to be, which is supposed to be a gangbanging game. You're supposed to be a gangbanger, and then gone, we're not gonna do that. It's like the memes. It's like, oh, I want Saints Row, but you got Saints Row at home, and it's just fucking Fortnite, fucking Far Cry, Cyberpunk, bloody Watch Dogs. Like it doesn't feel like it's a Saints Row game. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a Saints Row game. I mean, the gameplay's there, and we can all admit that the gameplay's there. But the thing that I'm concerned the most about is the motive. So, if we take it back all the way to the first Saints Row game, you started off as a bouncer outside a nightclub. You get into a scuffle with, you get in the middle of a gang fight, and then the Saints save you, and then you get invited to the headquarters. You go through initiation. You become a saint. You become a member of the Third Tree Saint, and then you help this gang throughout all these different missions, just for and Troy, Julius, Troy, and Dexter to backstab you to kill you, try and kill you rather. They blow you up on a boat. If you never play Saints Row 1, I'm sorry, but the game's fucking came out in like 2007, 2006, so you're over a decade. You've had over a decade to play it. But yeah, blows you up. That was like the motive was the motive for the first Saints Row was to help Julius, help the Third Tree Saints clean up Stillwater, and then you did that, and then Julius goes, "Fuck you," and blows you up, and then the second one, you're in a coma. You wake up from this coma, and it's like new gangs in Stillwater, and like there's new gangs in Stillwater. You're like, what the fuck? I just spent all this time trying to take over Stillwater, and now this happens. So you want revenge on Julius, Troy, and Dex. So you go ahead and you go do it. You you get out of the prison. You break out with Carlos. He helps you, and then you're like, oh fuck, my friend Gat is about to get killed. The one who didn't betray me. So then you go save Gat and you take over Stillwater again. And then, hell, I know that there's a divide between Saints Row 2 and Saints Row 3 players of like, what's better Saints Row? For me, I prefer Saints Row 2 because it was my first Saints Row. It was a game that introduced me to the genre of open world sandbox. That's sort of like curated what I like in games. Like I want an open world sandbox that I can just go around, just shoot people, steal cars, modify them, and that's what's been it for me. But um, that's why I prefer Saints Row 2, but I still like Saints Row 3. I enjoyed Saints Row 3. I enjoyed Saints Row 4. I don't think Saints Row 4 is a good Saints Row game, but I do think it was a good game. Didn't enjoy Jet Out of Hell, but that was a shit game anyway. But yeah, I don't hate Saints Row 3. I think it was a good game. It wasn't as much Saints Row as it should have been. I feel like it was a little bit over the top, but I still enjoyed it. So yeah, even Saints Row 3 had a motive. You rob a bank, then you go onto this plane. Gat supposedly dies, and then you're like, oh, what the fuck? And you just want to take out these Morningstar fuckheads, so you do. That was the motive. The motive was these people fucked with you, so you're gonna fuck with them. And I know you technically fucked with them first, but it's Saints Row. It doesn't really matter, does it? So that's what I'm worried about, because there doesn't seem to be a motive. It just seems like they're doing it to do it. Like the best way I could compare it to something is GTA. The only motive for GTA Online is to earn money. There is no other motive. You have zero other motive. The only way you progress in GTA Online is to earn money, and that's what this feels like. It feels like that the only reason why they're doing it is because they can, and that's not what I want. I want them to be a proper motive to why they're doing it, because that's important. And that's another thing as well, is it feels like they haven't really focused on the story as much, which is one of the most important parts of the Sanctuary series. It was gameplay and story, and this game has graphics, but every new game has graphics, so it doesn't really matter. And it has gameplay. The gameplay looks fun, but it doesn't have the story.